In this lesson, we're going to use the 3D Pen Avatar to create leggings. I'm going to start by putting my avatar on monochrome surface. Then I'm going to use my 3D pen, and I'm going to start on my avatar here. Click once and hold down Shift to create a perfectly straight line. I am then going to rotate beneath my avatar to create the inseam of my pant. Then I'm going to rotate back around, and I'm going to hold Shift, continue to hold Shift here, and I'm going to make this seam around the waist, making sure that I have a segment point here for the side seam. I'm going to come across here and finish back where I started. I'm then going to edit these points a little bit so that these line up better. I can do this by using the Edit 3D Pen Avatar tool. I'm not going to be using the 3D Pen Avatar tool to create a waistband. I'm actually going to use the actual pattern piece for the waistband. Then I'm going to create the shape around the ankle, and I'm going to use 4 segment points. One in the front, hold down Shift, one on the side, hold down Shift, one on the back, and finally one on the inseam, and close it all off back where I was on the front. The thing to remember about creating with the avatar pen is that your pattern pieces have to resemble real world pattern pieces. So I am going to start on the down here on the inseam of around my ankle. I'm going to click once here, and I'm going to draw up the inside of the leg. If I click and drag, if I hold down Control, I can create a curved line. This is a good practice in this case to help keep your line overall moving straight. I'm going to go all the way up to the top here, and I'm going to finish on one of the points that I drew in the inseam. And then I'm going to come out here on the back and basically do the same thing. Drawing leggings this way will ensure that they are close fitting. The pattern pieces themselves may not be perfect, but they will definitely fit my avatar, and I can edit them after the fact. Now I have basically 2 pattern pieces, one in the front and one in the back. Any stylized options that I would want here for my leggings, I will create later. Now I'm going to use my flattening tool, and I'm going to select the 2 pattern pieces. You know your pattern pieces will be successful if you can select them in this way. Before I actually flatten these pieces out, I'm going to use my edit tool one more time, and I'm going to designate that certain parts of the pattern I want to be flattened as a straight line so that I can have as many straight parts on my pattern piece where necessary. I'm also going to do the bottom around the ankle, so this will be perfectly straight around my avatar. Once these are all selected, I simply need to right-click and say flattening as a straight line. Now I can flatten these pieces. by selecting them here and hitting return on my keyboard. It will take a moment for Chloe to configure this, and then I will have two pattern pieces. I will have one that is my front pattern piece and one that is my back pattern piece. I do these together so that it sews on the side seam. I will then create the symmetric pattern with sewing to create the other leg, and then sew them together on the center front and center back. Next, I will make some quick edits here so that I have a straight waistband. I'm simply going to delete these segment points on the waistband. I'm going to select these here, and I will see that I have a circumference of about 33 inches. I'm going to create a rectangle that is 33. Actually, let's make it smaller. Let's make it 31 by 4. And then I will arrange this around my avatar and sew this not only down the center back seam, but I will also sew this to the waistband. When I simulate, these pieces will come together so that I have the beginnings of my waistband here around my leggings. I can edit the length of my waistband and then also add some fullness to this with the fullness line tool by actually making the waistband a little bit smaller. I will tell the waistband to, instead of being 28, let's make it 26. And when I simulate again, this will fit better around my waistband. Next, I'm going to make some pattern edits here so that these patterns fit more snugly around the legs. So I've made some edits here on these patterns. Before I started my editing, I made sure to clone as reference line so that I could see where the original patterns were. I didn't make great changes. I just made very small changes in a couple of areas and rotated the patterns a little bit. I then added a fabric, stretch, jersey, rayon spandex that would be form-fitting to the avatar. I would make a couple further small edits around the front here and around the back so that these pieces lie flat, depending upon what type of fabric that I would ultimately be using for this garment.